yet as we speak, the state has realized the need to update the law to offer protection to both genders in view of recent happenings in our society. About 3 or 4 years ago, the media was agog with the story of a female lawyer who allegedly stabbed her husband to death in Ibadan here.
Alright viewers, welcome back. Now we've established the fact that gender-based violence is not limited to physical violence. We have the psychological aspect. It can happen anywhere, in the house, our workplace, social gatherings, our immediate environment. Now, sir, my question now is a situation where students, most of them go through depression, and when we look at the reasons why some of them are depressed, is usually because is it either the male lecturer or the female lecturer, vice versa. The lecturer is if you don't step up, if you don't
give into my advantage.
Yes, to take advantage of the students, you're going to fail. And now the student begins to have phobia for exams, refuse to go to classes. He or she begins to withdraw from normal activities that he or she does. Now, what are the punishments that can be melted on the lecturer?
Thank you for that question. Violence happens everywhere, both in private and in public places. At home, in the marketplace, in schools, in government facilities, even in police stations, everywhere. Violence happens everywhere. So the act of violence or sexual harassment from a lecturer to the student is not just an act of violence, but an act of indiscipline on the part of that lecturer. Because a university lecturer is in loco parentis to the students. Is like a parent, an acting parent with a higher responsibility over the concerned student than just anybody. Because he's in the place of, he's acting in the place of the parent with a responsibility to care for the welfare and development of the parent. So where an act of harassment emanates from the university lecturer, it is most condemnable. And the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act frowns at it, and it provides a great deal of punishment, including fines and imprisonment. And in addition to that, various higher institutions also have their codes of conduct, which prohibits lecturers from making advances to their students of both gender. Well, the times that we are in now are different from the times of the past. What we used to experience before is a case of male lecturers taking undue sexual advantage of their female students. But we are in an era where even male lecturers make advances to male students. Male lecturers make advances to male students. So all these things are happening nowadays. So apart from the provisions in the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and the Violence Against Women Law of Oyo State, the various universities have their code of conduct. We might have followed the case of a professor at the Obafemi Awolowo University and the way the university management handled it, in addition to the criminal and penal sanctions provided under our laws. The university, using its administrative mechanisms, also disciplined the said lecturer by dismissing him from the university immediately. So these kind of actions are greatly welcomed. And even in the workplace, the problem is that most employees are afraid to speak up because of the economic situation of the country, for the fear of losing their jobs and not getting alternative jobs. Under our laws, we have provision for protection order. So it is up to the law enforcement agents and the courts to be up to their responsibility. If the person speaks up, the court can actually make an order against the concerned employer, preventing the employer from dismissing or harassing the employee unnecessarily on account of the fact that the said employee spoke up against the harassment meted on him or her at the workplace. So the law actually has a lot of all-encompassing provisions that are geared towards protecting victims who speak up. So we can only hope that the text of the law will be implemented to the letter so that we can all have a violence-free society or reduce violence to the barest minimum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adiroba. I have a big question. Seeing it from a different limelight, we're talking about majorly victims and perpetrators of violence against persons prohibition in Nigeria. The perpetrators themselves, with all the punishments being melted out, are they really sober about it? Some can be sober, but the real question is, will it really cause a change that the punishment the law gives to them really cause a change? They go to jail, I really don't know. People have different sections, different opinions. And yes, this is one of the things we're going to be looking at in the next episode. Stay tuned.